Just before we
10,000.
just before we cut, you said actually while we were cut, you said that XRP is 100% going to $25,000 a coin. I want to hear right now why you think that, or I'm going to walk off this podcast immediately.
Hey everyone, welcome to the No Emotion podcast. Today we have on Connor Kenny, who has gone massive on YouTube, 150,000 subscribers there alone, and plenty of profiles all over social media with large followings as well. It's an interesting one because he isn't an XRP guy, and obviously I am. He more leans towards degen plays and alphas and even Bitcoin and Ethereum for the long-term plays. It was an interesting conversation, lots of jokes made, primarily at me, but I think it's one you'll enjoy. Stick around for the whole episode. Let's get into it. I've just made this video about... Yeah, did you see that video where the guy was talking about XRP? And
The video where the guy was talking about XRP.
I know there's a lot of those. The one where it's like really fast paced and he's like, this is why I invest in XRP, and he goes Ripple at the end of every statement. Did you not see that?
No.
Okay. Well, it went viral in like the XRP space.
Yeah.
Which is probably, I don't know how many views, that might be like 500,000 or something in this whole space. But it was so addictive to watch, and it just like hyped everyone up about XRP. So I've just had the first draft of my own version of that. I'm trying to make an attempt at getting a widespread video. When this video comes out, I'll actually see how that's done.
Yeah.
But I've got an interview coming out tonight of an interview with Jimmy Valley. So he's big in the XRP space. I'm trying to ride that wave.
Yeah.
And then follow it up with like a viral thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
And it might have flopped.
yeah, we'll see. I'm not very big in the XRP space at all. I do hold XRP, but I don't really follow it that much.
So why do you hold it if you don't know much?
The
Well,
way-
maybe you do know a lot about it, but you're not involved.
The way I see crypto, as much as I believe in the future of crypto, in the space that we're in right now, I'm in this space to make money, right? So I believe, for the most part, that most crypto in this moment in time is 90% based on hype, right? So something like XRP that may very well have all of this great stuff, which we can go into, but may very well, is most likely going to make a bunch of money because everybody cares, right? So like the SEC case, if they pass that, if it goes, if it gets dropped or whatever the outcome is, if that happens, the price will go up. I make money. That's why I'm in XRP.
I see. I've analyzed since I've been in this, I guess the YouTube game, but also before that when I was starting to invest. You notice there's a whole load of different types of people who are really good at what they do, but it's completely different, a completely different space within this whole space. So you've got the TA guys like Blockchain Backer, who is just a complete genius. And then you've got hype people who are able to read narrative and hype.
Yeah.
And I would put you into that category, Alex Becker.
Yeah.
They're just so good at it. You are so good at it. And then there's people who look at utility, I think, and see the future potential of things. And they all have different timescales as to when they're going to pay out.
I think the best way is to be somewhere in the middle, right? Jack of all trades, master of maybe some. But if you can sit in the middle and you like, my intention for crypto is to hold it for the long term. But my intention for crypto, the only way I'm going to be able to hold it, if crypto is my job, right? We're not talking about founding a project here. We're talking about solely investing and making money to survive while I'm long term. I'll need to make money, right? And you don't make money just holding. Because yeah, sure, number go up on my phone. But if I'm not selling anything, I'm not making any money. So it's like being able to follow the narratives enough that you can make a bunch of cash. And by the time we're in a situation like we're in right now, where nothing's happening, you have enough cash to be reinvesting again and to live, right? So that's always how I've gone about it. And that's kind of how it started. I was following narratives back in 2017, early 2017. And that's how I made all of that money then. And then lost it all subsequently. But we can go through that.
Where did you lose that?
2018, the bear market.
Oh, you just lost it all in that?
That was my first bear market.
Yeah.
So this is my second real bear market. And the lessons that I learned, I could not be happier that I lost all of my money in 2018. Like, if I hadn't have lost all of the money, then I would have just lost it all again right now. Like, I would be in exactly... If somehow I either didn't get in at the top, whatever, right? If somehow I didn't lose all my money in 2018, I would have definitely lost all my money this time around.
So what did you learn in that?
Take profits.
That's it?
Pretty much, yeah. That's the most important thing right now, is to take profits. You can learn fundamental analysis, you can learn technical analysis. All of those are super important. But the most important thing, if you're not planning to make, like, say you're a founder of a company, like we were talking about starting an app, right? And I'm making a bunch of cash. It doesn't matter if you got fundamental analysis or TA. You can just buy Bitcoin, or you can buy XRP, you can buy whatever it is. You can make a bunch of money for a long time, right? You keep like, the money over here that you're making from your awesome app, you funnel it into crypto, you make a bunch of money. But if that's not the case, and 99% of people who are in crypto right now are trying to make money, right? 99.9% of those people never take any profits. So they all get, done for when the bear market comes. So the number one most important thing, in my opinion, is taking profits. Okay. And that's what I learned.
So what do you do? Like, I think, and I'm not having a dig at you here.
No, dig at me, man. Let's go.
I'm not, because
go a couple rounds.
Because it is actually really complex, and this is a question that's never answered by anyone whatsoever. Is how do you actually take profits?
Like physically,
like the strategy.
Button. Yeah.
That, of course, but like
limit order number.
Thanks. I'm talking about like BitBoy Crypto, for example. He made a video about his portfolio and how they're going to exit and stuff, but he never actually said any of it. Like, are you laddering out? Are you just clicking sell all at once? What kind of news are you waiting for to sell? Or like, how does that actually look for you?
Without spending, half an hour explaining exactly the strategy in itself, the overarching strategy that I've been following since 2018 was the Crypto Greed and Fear Index. I talk about this pretty much in every one of my videos. When the Crypto Greed and Fear Index is in extreme fear, I think we're at like 18 or something, right? Super extreme fear. That's when I'm buying. On a day where there is crazy fear, like the FTX crash, like the day of I think the day of the FTX crash, it was May. It was when I got off the plane. Like I was saying, there's always a crash in the market when I'm flying. So if anyone wants some serious alpha,
just to know your flight schedule,
pay attention to my YouTube channel. You can subscribe down there. There's a link. Pay attention to it. When I'm about to get on a plane, the market's going to crash, right? So pay attention to that.
I need to stay in contact about that.
Yeah. So extreme panic, right? That's when I'm buying the most. I dollar cost average like that. I dollar cost average into the market in extreme fear. Rather than every week or every month, I pick the time when it's extreme fear. Now, that may not necessarily be a lower point in the chart, right? It's just extreme fear, because on a day where everybody thinks it's over, most likely is probably the local bottom, right? It might not be the bottom, but it's probably the best chance I can get to dollar cost average, in my opinion. Now, on the flip side, which is exactly what I did in this bull market, right? When the market moves into crazy euphoria, right? So we can sit in euphoria for ages, right? It's going to take time. But when the market starts moving in, like right now, I think we're in neutral as of today. We're in like a neutral standpoint. I'm not selling anything apart from I do short-term trading as well. So that's a separate. I do short-term trading, leverage trading, and I do short-term trading of altcoins. But both of those things are separate to my portfolio, right? Because that's probably 1 to 5% of my entire holdings. Right. I'm playing with that sort of stuff. But the long-term stuff, when we start to move into serious euphoria, right now we're in neutral, serious euphoria, that's when I'm going to start to ladder out. And we can go all the way to euphoria tomorrow if the SEC comes out and says something really nice, right? And we'll instantly, that's not where I'm selling a lot of stuff. I'm going to take a little bit of profit then for sure, like 20% of not really Bitcoin, until we've been in a sustained period of euphoria. But some of the other altcoins that I might have been laddering into over this extreme fear zone, I can take like 20% out. And when the market is in super euphoria, if it's the longer it stays in euphoria, the higher we tick, the more I'm taking off. I'm still doing short-term trades on the way up that I'm getting in and out of, which funds the ladder, and just slowly getting out of it till we reach the top. For example, I never claim to be someone who can time the bottom or the top whatsoever. I'm just any person, right? My tagline is any guy sitting in his room, right? I got out of Solana at $180, about 50% of my bag at $180. It still went up to $300.
Yeah.
I missed out on, another 100% move, but it doesn't really matter. I got out at $180. I had no emotion to that. I still had 50% of my bag left. I rode it all the way to the top, and now I've rode it all the way down. And then on the way down on the bumps like this, I'm like, okay, cool. I'll take a little bit out because I do think we're in a bear market. So I didn't manage to get out everything at the top. So I'll take a little bit out on these bumps. And then when we reach serious peak fear, uncertainty, and doubt, that's when I'm going to start laddering back in. That's essentially it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I actually think the simpler you make it, the better it works, and it might not work best financially, but it works best for you as a person, because when I think about when I had like 50 tokens in my portfolio, trying to juggle like all the charts, and it was just too much. Like I couldn't handle that.
It's absolutely insane.
I've condensed down to, I'm in maybe three now.
XRP.
Those are those X ones, XRP, XLM, and XDC.
Okay. No Bitcoin.
Nope.
Scum.
Look, this is my rationale for Bitcoin.
Scum.
Wow. I think if you're short-term trading, which I'm not, I'm just a buy and hold.
Yeah.
I think there's benefit in any chart that you look at. Any chart, as long as it's speculation based, which the whole industry is right now, you can trade that. This part of the episode is sponsored by No Emotion. That's the brand that you see right here. The whole idea with No Emotion is to bring the no emotion mentality of not letting emotions get the hold of you, and buying when you shouldn't be buying, selling when you shouldn't be selling, but also across all aspects of life. And that's what this clothing brand is all about. This was all part of the drop for December. We are going to drop a new design with t-shirts and actually a zip-up hoodie in March. So if you want to get on with that pre-sale or get notified when the pre-sale starts, go to noemotion.com. It's NOEMTN.com, and you can register to be notified when the pre-sale goes live. So Bitcoin, fine, do that. But for holding it, if I'm thinking about the X's to get to, I believe Bitcoin will get to $1 million.
Yeah.
But the X's to get there, and then I compare that to the X's of not just the altcoins, but how, because we know altcoins outperform Bitcoin in alt season, but also then layering on top of that, having utility in those X assets. I just compare them both, and I think I can't justify putting money in Bitcoin with that mindset.
Yeah. The way I like to see Bitcoin is, even though they're not the same thing, I see Bitcoin as the S&P 500 of the crypto world, right? So I invest into the S&P 500 in stocks and shares, and I invest into Bitcoin in crypto, simply because that's the lowest risk, highest reward really that you can find. So Bitcoin may very well go to zero, but in my opinion, what's the lowest risk that I can put substantial amounts of money into? That will it go to $1 million? Let's say it just goes to 100K, right? We're at 20K-ish now. That's a 5X. So if I put a substantial amount of my current income, whether it's up or down, whatever it is, let's say it's 50% of my income or 20% of my income. If I take, let's say 20%, because that's more realistic, take 20% of my income and put it into Bitcoin, and then I take 5% of my income and I put that into whatever altcoin, right? Most likely that 5% is going to outperform Bitcoin in a bull run. Most likely. But you may pick the wrong things. We may never go into a bull run. Everything might go to zero. But with Bitcoin, again, still has the opportunity to go to zero. But in my eyes and in my experience, most likely Bitcoin is the one that is going to show us without having to choose. In the same way you don't have to choose the S&P 500. You just buy it and you forget about it. Without having to choose, if crypto makes it, most likely Bitcoin will make it. So I can put, with the lowest amount of risk, I can get the highest amount of reward. Well,
and also if you add to that, I think the whole idea of when you're trying to make money, you don't necessarily go for the big player. But if you already have money, you need to go for the big player, because that's the most sensible thing to do. You don't try to risk it all.
Yeah, this is also why I still play with small cap altcoins, and I still do leverage trading. Leverage trading is definitely not something you should do if you are within your first 4 or 5 years in crypto, and it shouldn't be more than 1% of your portfolio. But if you're only in crypto, like I was saying at the start with the app, you can do things like degen altcoin trading, not leverage trading, but like finding small cap gems. You can make money. And once you have that money, you can secure that money either by taking it out into your bank account, which, why would you want to do that? Or putting it into something like Bitcoin. That's the way I see it.
So how does that work for you when you sell on a trade? What do you sell into?
USDT mostly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it never leaves?
No, I basically, well, it depends. I buy assets, large assets with crypto, so that's how it leaves. But I have a system in which I pay myself a salary, which is mostly from outside, let's say YouTube revenue, right? So my YouTube revenue stays outside of crypto. That just pays me a salary, right? And if I buy an asset, if you're in a crypto-friendly country, you can buy assets with crypto, so it never needs to move into your bank accounts.
And you are in a crypto-friendly country.
Yeah. Well, I reside sometimes in Dubai.
So, okay. I think the Middle East is becoming increasingly appealing, just in general.
Yeah, I find it hard to even understand, apart from like a family level, if you want to stay in a country because your family's here, if you want to stay in a country because your job that you love is here. Apart from that, I find it very hard to see why people wouldn't at least experience other places. We're talking, my favorite places are either somewhere like Bali, Thailand, Dubai. Like,
you look like that type of guy.
Like, why would you stay in freezing cold England when you can live in a treehouse in Bali for like 10% of the price? It's beyond me. And you have the internet. So,
how does the tax work when you're doing all this trading?
I live in a tax, like my residency is in Dubai. So I am a tax-free resident.
To have a residency?
You can work for a company. They give you a residency.
Okay.
You can start up your own company.
Okay.
Or you can get a golden visa, but basically you can't do that unless you invest a certain amount of money.
Yeah, because there's some countries in Caribbean that if you donate to the country, you get their passport.
You can spend...
But it's like 100K.
Yeah, you can spend about... what is it? £1,230,000 and you can get a golden visa. But I assume you can't just get it because I don't have a golden visa.
Okay.
I assume you have to be in the country, you have to be part of the system for a while to get one.
Okay. So let's say we go down the company route. I just start a company and then I can just be in Dubai?
Yeah, so setting up a company in Dubai is not the same as setting up a company in the UK.
Okay.
You need an agent. You can do it yourself, but there's too much like red tape, right? It's like one of those things. It's not like Company's House. You just go on Company's House and my business, and you just pay what, £5, right? But I think it's probably about £5,000. You can get an agent in a free zone to set you up a company, and then that will give you a visa for 2 years now, I think.
It just gives you 2 years to go.
You get a company and you get a visa, and then you have to go through the process of opening up yourself a bank account, which is basically if you have a viable business. If your business is a marketing agency, if your business is a YouTube channel, if your business is whatever it is, you can go and you can show, these are the licenses that I want, this is what I'm going to do. You show it to them, and then you open it.
Okay. So why wouldn't I do that?
You tell me.
Really? Is that easy?
I'm telling you, how many times have I told you? Like I just, every time anyone's is like, yeah, any time anyone is like, Connor, I'm a businessman, or I got a YouTube channel, or I've got this idea. I'm like, my friend is literally starting a game development company. Shout out if you're watching. He's starting a game development company. And I'm like, just start it in Dubai. Why wouldn't you? There's no reason not to. Like, none. I mean, I don't know yet. Maybe there's something that I don't know yet. I've been there 6 years. So far, I wouldn't want to have... I have a company in England, I have a company in Dubai. And I don't see why you wouldn't.
So what's the benefit of the England company then?
It just was set up first. Because I come from I don't come from an e-commerce background, but that was the first time I was...
involved.
Going out on the business side of things. So I set up a business here because, that's what you do.
Yeah. So you said something to me on the text earlier, that it was cheaper for you to live there than it is here.
Yeah, not cheaper necessarily for me, but it can be cheaper to live in Dubai.
Tell me how that works.
So London's rent, what would you say an average rent in London is?
I have no idea. Do you know?
Maybe like 800 quid for a room, 700 quid?
About grand a month.
Would that be a whole studio apartment though? Or?
Studio apartment, maybe like 1,300.
Yeah.
You're lucky if you get a studio for 1,300.
Okay.
So you can you can get in a relatively nice area for about £8,000 a year. You can get a studio apartment in a relatively nice area. There is that you can get for about £2,000, £3,000 a year. You can get in a far away area, and for 150 quid a month, you can get a bed space, which of course I'm sure most people don't want. But there's a spectrum, right? You can also pay $100,000 a month to live in the Burj Khalifa or live on the Palm or whatever. But it's far cheaper than anyone thinks. If you want it to be, of course, London. You know what I mean? It's you can live in Mayfair or you can live in, I would say Hackney, that's where I'm from, but that's not cheap anymore. Like wherever's cheap now,
Okay.
nowhere. But you know what I mean?
So when you have this visa for the business, because my business hasn't necessarily officially been set up yet here, because the accountant said it's not. There's a level.
Yeah, you're still sole trader, right?
Yeah, technically, based on the last assessment. But when I do make that switch, and that time comes to where I need to start minimizing tax liability, I feel like there should be more hurdles than how you've explained it.
Well, no, Dubai's it's made to be easy, so it gets you to come. But bearing in mind, you can't live here. You can't spend more than 3 months in this country, and you have to be not a tax resident. Else, if you have a company in Dubai and you pay yourself in Dubai, you still legally have to pay tax in this country.
Okay. Now that's what I thought was the case.
Yeah.
So you have to be there.
I've only spent 3 months a year in this country for the last 6 months. Yeah, 6 years. Yeah.
Wow.
But I also that's why I say when you ask me, like, I do have a residency in Dubai, but I don't necessarily live there. Like, I'm here 3 months of the year. I was in Bali for 2 months last year because we just crossed over. So I was in Australia for, maybe I shouldn't say the numbers too obviously in case they're like, someone's like, oh, Australia's government, let's get in. It was only 2 days I was in Australia.
So do you have places over in those?
Not that I own, no.
You just kind of just rent.
Yeah. I own places in Dubai.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're on the
But
I
don't live in them either. Just rentals.
I see.
Yeah, that's where a lot of my that's what I, like I was saying, I took profits into assets. And that was essentially how I protected my entire downside this time round, is I literally pretty much at the top, and by pure chance, I've just been in crypto for long enough to recognize this is too much, right? Like, what is going on? Yes, I believe that Bitcoin is going to go over 100K eventually, but what's happening right now where people are saying we're going to go to 100K tomorrow, there's meme coins that are pumping 3 bajillion%. Like, this is not sustainable. So even though at this moment in time, buying a house or buying a flat it's a detriment in this moment, right? If I take out a bunch of cash and I buy a flat and it returns me 10% a year, like, I can make 10% a day if I find the right coins.
Right.
But let me fight that feeling, because that was the feeling that got me wrecked in 2018. Let me fight that and just start to siphon off money and put it into assets that will give me financial freedom, right? And I basically set that up. Like, it was awesome. I set myself up basically for like a normal life for the rest of my life if everything went to zero. So.
That's I think that's what everyone wants. I think we all aspire to have lots of money and lots of wealth, but at least if you could get just rich enough to diversify into assets, into other assets that are long term. I think real estate in the Middle East is an A1 play.
Well, this is what I like to think is the sometimes we go off on tangents on my channel. Like, sometimes I focus on things and I'm like, this is it, we're gonna make loads of money from this. But I always have the outlying idea that the plan is for that, right? The plan is to take profits from this, and it's to put us in situations where we can now, make a couple of grand a month passively, and that's it. Now we don't need, like, once you have that base level sorted, you can do anything in the world you want, especially if you live in a place like Thailand or Bali. Do you know what I mean? If you got 3 grand coming in a month passively, you live in a place like Bali, you live like a king, and you're completely financially free.
I love it.
So why wouldn't you do it?
I know, but it's very stressful to trade. Everyone needs a secret, like how to read the patterns and everything. I rely heavily on Fibonacci's, the Fibonacci. And I put my own line in there. It's the 3.2. It's like an early profit take.
Yeah.
And that, if you put that on the whole last bull run for Bitcoin, the 3.2 is like a prime selling location. You do it across the board. It's just a great place.
Yeah. I mean, just like, without thinking too technical, like, if you want to buy in extreme fear and sell in euphoria, that's really without being too, like, you're never going to get the best buy and you're never going to get the best sell. But if you're trying to make a bit of money, it's going to work out if you're investing into something that you actually think is going to go up in, let's say, 2, 3, 4 years, right? So if it's XRP, if it's Bitcoin, if it's Ethereum, whatever it is, for example, the last year, right? I've been buying Bitcoin from, I think I started getting heavy at about 30,000 and then really heavy all the way down to 15. I think 15.6 was the last time that I bought. Extreme fear. Just got off the plane, sending a picture to him of me in shorts. Like, what am I doing? And I remember I was waiting for my friend. And I'm talking to my dad as well. And I'm like, Bitcoin is just like, it's gone from 21,000 to 15 and a half. And I'm like, right, I'm just going to buy a bunch. So I just bought a bunch.
Right.
And doing that over time. And then now we're in neutral. So maybe we go a little bit into euphoria, but maybe it gives up when we go back down to extreme fear. Fair enough. Continuous dollar cost average. Maybe it's 24, maybe it's 25, but there will be a point where everyone thinks that everyone's forgotten. All the people that got burnt are gone. All the people that stuck around, 2-3% of us that stuck around. And then the majority is new. So Euphoria's back, right? Shiba Inu ×4 riding on the moon coin is back, right?
I love that coin.
Yeah, it's the best coin. And everyone's making loads of cash. And you're like, okay, cool. This is where I cash out. This is where I'm taking some profits.
What there needs to be is a fear and greed index that is based on that day, not an accumulative thing of where we are generally.
Yeah, well, it's a 24-hour thing where they base it off like the movements of loads of different things.
I know,
but yeah, it's not accurate.
If the SEC court case finished, it would not go to extreme greed.
Yeah, instantly. Yeah,
No.
totally.
So there needs to be something. Maybe AI can do that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll work on that.
But yeah, I mean, the most amount of money that I've made is by doing that, not by short-term trading. The short-term trading is just like, it's fun. So like...
Yeah, well, it's simple. You just buy when it's down.
Yeah.
Sell when
like,
it's up.
I don't scalp really. I don't really do really short time frame stuff. It's more based on a fundamental thing that's going on. And, I did a trade yesterday on, what was it? FTM. What's that? Phantom, right?
Yeah.
Phantom is like, if you follow the narrative a little bit of altcoins, right? I mean, a little bit in each altcoin, and you know what's going on. You had the founder who left like 6 months ago, and you go, I have a friend who's really into Phantom. I'm talking to him. Andre, he's messaged me. Andre's just left. Phantom's crashed. I'm like, do I really believe that that's like actually going on, or is he just saying nonsense? Like he left because he didn't like the emotional people. He's probably just going to go anonymous for a while, continue building, and then one day go, ta-da, just kidding, I'm back. And that's exactly what happened, right? That's not the trade that I did yesterday. But now we have that, but that happened in a bear market. So Phantom's been beaten down loads. So now we're moving into a little bit of euphoria. Phantom is down loads. It's still building. There's still TVL. This seems like a kind of that hasn't pumped. Most likely we're going to see a movement in this.
Okay.
So it's like basing that, then you find a little bit of TA, what's the support resistance? And then, okay, I'm going to jump into a little trade here.
I see. So it's a lot actually that goes into it.
Yeah. But also I'm not very technical. I don't do a lot of technical trading. Like I'm not going to tell you I'm going to buy on this fib and sell on this fib, or I'm going to buy because it's like, moving averages, support and resistance, and volume,
Right.
that sort of stuff. And then a lot of fundamental narrative based stuff.
So how many tokens do you hold?
Not
Have
number, yeah.
in circulation.
Like as in how many different
that you're using for trading.
Oh, it does. Nothing in particular. Mainly Bitcoin is mainly what I would trade.
Really?
Like, as in the leverage trading. Yeah.
Leverage trading. Yeah.
But trading altcoins is weird because you've got long-term trading altcoins is better than trading altcoins for the short term. Do you know what I mean? Like
what's long term?
6 months to a couple of years. Okay. Like my best ever trade was, I remember my friend messaged me in 2017, mid or start of the bull run. Connor, there's this Chinese coin that they're going to be using for ATMs. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, it's launching tomorrow. And I'm like, what? All right, let's buy a bit. What does it turn out to be? It's Cardano. This guy just has no idea what he's even talking about. It's not even just nonsense messaging me. Nonsense. We made a bit of money, sold it all. And then the next time I even thought about it, I was just back in London. COVID had just happened. Or it was like 2020, mid 2020, I think. I'm walking around with my mum, and then I remember my friend messaging me about this Chinese coin that's going to be used in ATMs, which obviously it isn't. That's not what. Right. Don't know where he got that information from. Maybe that was some narrative that someone said on Twitter at the time, but just nonsense. And it popped into my head, and I checked it, and I was like, wait, that was a legitimate project, right? There was a lot going on for that in the bull market, and everyone's forgotten about it. And it's like, it's worth nothing. So I put a few grand in it, and I remember specifically, I was like, this is ridiculous. Put a few grand into it. Then I had just a little bit more here and there, and then 2,000% gain or something ridiculous. So, and that was over the course of 20. So what was the top? Like what, mid 21, right? Or the end of 21.
Yeah.
So a year and a half. That's the best return you'll get. So like buying altcoins now with a little bit of money that you don't care about losing is probably the best way to do it. Like short-term trading is not for majority of people. Like when I say I short-term trade, I don't do anything but trade crypto and make YouTube videos and come to London and whinge about how cold it is. That's all I do. So I got the time for that. So don't do it if you got a full-time job because you're going to miss loads of stuff, you know?
So I was looking at Social Blade, just looking at, I guess just looking at the channel to see the journey of it.
Yeah.
And
You're like, his Twitter sucks. That's what you're thinking.
No, I didn't actually see your Twitter.
And I agree. It's terrible. Follow me on Twitter, please.
Twitter
Don't
is so
follow me.
tough. Twitter's so tough. It's so negative.
I don't even understand. Like, I've had my Twitter since 2017, and it's just like, no one cares. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like, here's a really interesting piece of information I just thought of. No, everyone's like, yeah, I don't care,
I
mate.
know. I don't get Twitter at all. I think it's the most negative place you can be. I don't know. I don't know what to do with Twitter because my following has grown on there. But I hate it. I hate Twitter so much. I go through the comments and I just think I feel way worse about myself now.
Yeah.
Just because they have lots to say about me.
Yeah.
That I know it's not true, but it's just like, it hurts.
There's a lot of different types of people on different platforms.
Yeah.
Twitter is people who are not more intelligent, but maybe think they're more intelligent. I don't really know how to put it, but there's definitely different viewpoints on Twitter, on YouTube, on TikTok.
Yeah, that's a different.
Like if I post something on TikTok now, it's like, you're an idiot. How dare you talk about crypto?
Yeah.
Like, are you thick?
Yeah.
This guy's an idiot. Because I don't know there's no context, right? So I'm going, yeah, Bitcoin. And I go, this guy's an idiot. And I'm like, wait, I have all this proof.
Yeah.
Like, and I get really like defense. I'm like, wait, I got all this proof that I made loads of money in Bitcoin. You can call me an idiot.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, don't respond.
You get so defensive.
Yeah.
And then it causes this cycle where you're just creating negativity constantly.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you're just in defense mode.
Yeah, I tend to just ignore most things now these days. I try to, if something like really, I do try and read my comments, but if something does really get to me, I try and respond with as much like, I know it sounds a bit cliche, but like kindness. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to patronize them, but in my head, I'm like, if you're going to comment something that's, you know, I used to have a lot of comments about appearance when I'm talking about crypto, for example. And I'm like, wait, if you're gonna talk about the way I look, and I'm talking about crypto, and I'm like, you know, my journey, like, okay, well, obviously something's not cool.
You don't have to look at me.
Yeah. Like turn my stupid face off. It's fine. And then also if someone's like, you know, calling me an idiot or whatever, my initial response is to, how can I prove to them that I'm not an idiot? And I'm like, wait, hold on. I have a whole backlog of videos where there's proof in the pudding of what I'm talking about. So if you think I'm an idiot, fair enough.
Yeah, I'm learning as I'm growing in this whole space in the amount of people that are watching. I'm realizing more and more how little I want to be on my phone.
Yeah, we're in a catch-22 because like everyone on the internet's like, get away from your phone, and I'm like, yeah, but that's my job and my whole entire existence. Like I could try, but also don't want to do that.
You could pull away from.
Yeah, some of the stuff. Some of it, yeah.
But I guess you've got a lifestyle that to maintain now.
I don't post on like Instagram much or anything like that.
No. Yeah, it's a struggle, especially as I think about it as a business from my side. The idea of entertaining these other platforms is getting a bit. It's like I know we need to do it because I went from like 0 to 70K on TikTok in like a month. Just because I was creating dedicated content. Because it rewards dedicated content there. But I felt awful using it. It was just terrible. I knew my dopamine was being released at all the wrong times. I knew I was in the trap.
Yeah, I don't use. I have someone who uploads to all of the short form content for me, so I don't really. I definitely scroll, but it's like I try and not do it much, and I don't upload it myself, so it's like it happens automatically.
Yeah, so I have that system in place as well.
Yeah.
But the majority of it now, because I can't bear to be on the platform itself, it's demoralizing, is they clip my content and then caption it and all of that stuff. But I know it's not as effective.
Yeah,
but
no
it's
one
the
cares.
easy way.
Yeah, no one cares about that for some reason.
But it's
which is
super
fair
easy.
enough. Yeah, they care about this. If this is clipped up, though, right?
Yeah.
But not,
I think
but
so.
not like daily content because it's not quick enough. Like I'm sure if they clipped it up instantly and it was already on your channel maybe an hour after you made the main video and it was instant and it was like relative, I think it would be all right. But it gets uploaded the next day and it's like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
What were you going to say about Social Blade? I'm interested.
Yeah, I was going to go back to that. So there was a September, I think, during COVID, where the channel just went.
Yeah.
I think it was a September. Anyway,
yeah.
there was a normal trend. Then it just went almost like not even parabolic.
Yeah,
just like up.
I think it depends. How long were you looking at it? Because my channel's I made that channel before Google owned YouTube.
Oh goodness! Well,
Yeah.
it wasn't on a long enough time frame. Then.
So it might have also looked way more parabolic because of the fact that it's so much data. Do you know what I mean? So it's like,
I see.
I was on I think because I still am technically. My job is I'm a stuntman. I'm a qualified stuntman in the
Really?
UK. Yeah. I have British stunt register qualification that took me years to get, and I was a free runner and acrobat, right? And that was my channel initially, was my free running in 2006. I think that's when it started.
Wow.
I had free running stuff, and then I started doing Casey Neistat. Around Casey Neistat's time, I started doing daily videos,
Yeah.
but traveling because my mum travels a lot, I travel a lot, we travel together a lot. And then I kind of realized that even though everyone wants to do that, you kind of don't enjoy life if you're daily contenting because you only do stuff for the content, right? Like I make daily content now, but my life isn't based around the content. I sit down at my desk and I do the content and then I live my life. If your life is based around the content, like it's not enjoyable to you're like, oh, I should go to a theme park today because it'll be great for the video. But like, do I even care about theme parks? No. So it's like, that's not cool. So I stopped doing that. And then I left it from then. Then I actually lived in Dubai working as an acrobat for, I think, 3 or 4 years. Dragone was the last job that I did, which is basically Franco Dragone started Cirque du Soleil.
Wow.
And then he has his own, what they called, like purpose-built theaters for his shows. So it's like Owen in Vegas, which is the water show, but he makes purpose-built theaters. Right. And around that time was when I was trying to figure out how to make money online because I don't actually want to work for someone. So then I started doing Instagram management, both managing people's stuff and buying Instagram pages, small, building them and selling them.
Yep.
And then I was like, wait, I'm actually making money from this. Let me talk about this on YouTube. So the first reincarnation of my channel was making how to make flip Instagram pages, a little bit of e-commerce, and then what I'm doing with that money. So that was always the idea. But that spike that you're talking about, I'm pretty sure I know exactly when it was. It was meme season at I guess not the start, but like the middle. Maybe there's maybe around here on the first little pump, because that was when I saw this phenomenon that happens on YouTube where essentially people who are very clever at riding waves, which is awesome. I consider myself to be someone who can, I'm like, okay, there's something happening here.
Yeah.
I may as well ride this wave because that way I can get enough eyeballs onto my content, and it may not necessarily be fully about that, but it can get people over, right? But what I saw going on was a bunch of people talking about, there was a number of different coins that were happening, but all of the guys that were talking about it were people who were only in the space from 2020. I guess it was 2020, right? So they started their channel 2020. They started investing in crypto into these tokens, and they essentially don't understand the cycle. And I'm sitting here going, well, I've just bought Bitcoin at 3,000 after the COVID crash. I bought ADA 6 weeks ago, or 6 months ago, or whatever. I've been through this. I believe that we're coming out of this bear market. I've been researching this whole time the cycles of crypto, what happens, bull markets, bear markets, learning from my mistakes that I made. And I'm watching these guys go, basically it's up only. And I'm like, this is not right. Like, it's not, guys, wait, are we silly? It's not up only. Like, we can, and I'm like, I know, because basically in 2017, I put $3,000 in, which was incredible amount of money for me. That was like, I'm like, this is, kept me up at night when I did that in 2017. It was like more than a month's salary. And I put that in and I turned it into 75 grand.
Right.
And basically at 75 grand, when you've never seen money before, I can live like a king.
Yeah.
I've made it. I am now rich. Thank you. Thank you, mother, for bringing me up, but I am now rich.
Yeah.
You can refer
Things
to me
have
as
changed.
sir from now on. And then I lost it all,
Yeah.
right? So I'm watching these videos of these, not kids, like they're just as old as I was then, but these guys just talking exactly like how I was thinking then. I actually sold one of the coins. I sold ADA, like I said, and I bought another coin. I'm like, oh yeah, up only. This is what happens. Like once you like the basic mindset is once you've made the money, it's real. I'm going to move that money into, let's move it from Bitcoin into Ethereum, into Cardano, because there wasn't that many coins in 2017. That was kind of the flow, right? And then, what was it? VLX? I think was it VLX?
Rings a bell.
Something, I don't know. There was all these coins, right? It's basically Twitter narratives. And I'm riding these Twitter narratives, and I'm like, oh, I'm actually a genius. My dad came to see me. It was December, and I was like, I made 15 grand last night. Dad, you idiot! Like you've only had a business for 25 years, and I'm out here making 15 grand in a night. You don't know what? Don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Like so, all of this is happening, and then I'm seeing this same thing happen again, but with people who are on YouTube, and there's 20,000 people watching them, and I'm going, oh no, this is like, I know what happens.
Right.
So some of the very first videos I was making was, how to use crypto.com, which is funny because some of those got loads of views. And when people see them, people commenting like, this is clearly a sponsored post that you didn't disclose. And like, guys, I had like 1,000.
Yeah.
I made it because I used crypto.com. Like, I don't know how to explain this to you. Yes, the number says 100 and whatever now, but it didn't then. But so I started making content, and then I was like, okay, this is actually the perfect thing, because what I can do is I can ride the same wave as them, but I can be the voice of reason.
Yeah.
And I can be like, guys. And then so what I did was I rode a few of the waves. I was completely transparent about the movements, and I told everyone where I sold. And I sold, I sold 90% of these meme coins on the way up. They all rode way further, but I sold all of those. And then I told everyone my plan was to buy property. And then I did that. And it's like, so I showed this on the channel, and like, I'm really proud of that whole movement. And the annoying thing is like we were talking about comments, is you still get people commenting how, see, you just pump and dumped, or you did this. I'm like, no, I started this channel when I had no followers.
Yeah.
And I clearly showed how this is how you make money. You don't do emotion, you don't think it's up only, and you take profits. And it's not as simple as that, but it can be done.
Yeah. This part of the episode is sponsored by Minima. Minima claims to be the most decentralized blockchain to exist. And what they're trying to do is increase the security and the scalability of blockchain. And what I found really interesting is that they're trying to integrate this technology into Internet of Things devices. We talked about this previously on different episodes on this channel, but Internet of Things devices are things that are basically not online that will be brought online via the blockchain. Let's say a parking meter or a toll road, or even how cars communicate with each other to navigate the traffic. Minima are having their pre-sale in February this year, so if you are interested at all in researching more, understanding more about what Minima is, please go over to their website, which is minima.global, or on Twitter, minima_global. Back to the episode. Well, you're speaking my language for the most part, especially the no emotion part. That's the whole brand.
Yeah.
But I think the trap that I've fallen into, and everyone in my audience has fallen into, is that utility is king. I do believe utility is king.
So do I, yeah.
But it's not a short-term moneymaker unless you are right now throwing darts at a dartboard and everything's going to go up, basically. From now on, leave it a year, everything's going to go up. So almost,
maybe.
For the most, not everything. That's
yeah.
not a legal thing that I just
do not throw darts at a dartboard and then invest in the things the darts hit.
But as the saying goes, you probably could do something like that hypothetically from this moment and wait for a year, and they likely have gone up.
I'm not convinced that we're out of the trenches yet. So I would move that to 2 years in my own head, but I don't know if we're out of the trenches yet.
Why do you say that?
Just because the macro's not great, and I think that everyone's getting too euphoric too quickly.
I get the feeling that people aren't euphoric enough right now. I'm insulated.
Yeah. The reason why I say that is because too many people are too euphoric right now. I know, and only bearing in mind one time coming out of a bear market, I know what it's like to move out of an actual bear market. I've only experienced it once, but you're like, wait, what's going on? And then nobody thinks anything's happening. Whereas you can say that's the same thing that's happening right now, but really, if you actually, like, I did a poll on my channel. Let's see.
Yeah, I like your polls.
I haven't checked. I did a poll to see what the overall mentality of people who watch my videos is.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're obviously, like you said, a little bit insulated into the overall market. But for the most part, we can't always be right. There's not much signal. I checked just before we came in, and it was in the favor of it being very bullish. And I specifically said altcoins. I didn't say crypto. I didn't say Bitcoin. I specifically said altcoins. And that gives me a worry that the majority is bullish. Do you know what I mean? Because when the majority is exactly like the reason why I buy in extreme fear, like the majority thinks that crypto is going to zero on the day that FTX collapsed. They're like, okay, well, it's the second or third largest exchange. Crypto is clearly over. And I'm like, what is a centralized exchange? That's like saying if a bank goes down, the dollar's not worth anything. Yeah. Dollar's not worth anything. We can go through that in another talk. But do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like overall, if an exchange goes down, that doesn't make Bitcoin worthless. Yeah. It's actually, if you look at it from like, you know, a little bit of a different standpoint and a bit meta, it's actually exactly bullish on Bitcoin. FTX crashing is exactly the point of why Bitcoin was created in the first place, right? Centralized idiots taking your money and doing what they want with it. So let's create something that's decentralized. And there's arguments that it's not because people hold so much of it. But the idea, so FTX crashes, that's good for Bitcoin. Everyone thinks that Bitcoin's going to zero. I'm going to buy it. I have no idea why I started that tangent, but that's...
Well, I think it's the idea of, I think that, I'm more hedged on the side that the bottom's in. Understanding the further bottom can come in. Yeah. I completely get it, and I'll just keep buying at that point. So it doesn't actually, it's not that important to me. But when we look at the financial space, which is basically where the whole area that I'm focused on with XRP and how that's going to change the financial system, I look at the macro from that side, just with the blinders on there, looking at the finance world. The banks are running out of money. The cost of everything's going up. Inflation's going up. People are struggling. Really, really, really struggling.
Yeah.
Either that gets to a tipping point and basically everything goes to zero, which is the further bottom to come in. Or the government decides enough is enough. We can't actually do this anymore, but we're going to rescue everyone and we're going to implement this blockchain technology. They won't say XRP. They won't say Ripple. It'll all be in the background. But to me, it seems like very soon there's got to be some sort of breaking point because all the infrastructure is being put in place in the financial system with the new messaging code, the ISO 222 thing. That's been updated around the world with all the banks, getting ready for the interaction between blockchain and the financial system. You've got countless things like that. And the idea that Nostro Vostro accounts, do you know what Nostro Vostro is? Great. So Nostro Vostro is basically accounts that different banks hold as an insurance mechanism so that if I need to pay Russia in rubles, we've got rubles at the bank that we can pay them. And especially when Russia say, we're not taking dollars anymore, we don't believe in the dollar, which is literally what they've said, and China and all the BRICS nations. At some point, that Nostro Vostro account is going to go to zero. They're not going to have rubles to pay because they're not accepting dollars now. So what do? You've got to create a bridge asset that everyone's on board with. Let's not use Bitcoin or Ethereum for that matter.
Yeah, Ethereum doesn't make much sense.
No.
But do you, like, I don't know enough to have an argument with you about XRP.
But please ask the questions.
But why would a centralized entity like Ripple be a better alternative to what we have right now?
Who are you thinking about it benefiting?
Anyone. Well,
the main people that it needs to benefit are the banks.
Yeah.
And right now, when you send a message... sorry, I'm getting too ahead of myself. When you send a payment to another bank, it can take 3 to 5 days.
Yeah.
That's that really annoying delay. When you've got a technology that does it in 3 to 5 seconds, and here's the actual important part. It's not the speed, because they've handled it so far. Yeah. The actual important thing is that they save 60% percent on the cost of sending money. So if you think about a bank, a central bank, or a country for that matter, and you said, we're going to save you 60% on the transfers of all the money around the world, which is trillions a day. Do you want to save 60%? The answer is probably yes. The answer is also probably yes, and we need to make sure that people don't really know about this in a way.
Yeah.
So let's set up the infrastructure. Let's not really talk about Ripple. Let's not talk about XRP. But when we release our transparent pilots of these CBDCs and stuff, we'll mention it once in the 95-page document that we're exploring this technology.
Is the plan to send the central bank digital currency on Ripple, or is the plan to send XRP?
So the XRP part of it, Ripple has their own technology called RippleNet. And so RippleNet is being used right now, but RippleNet doesn't use XRP. So when they send money on RippleNet, it's just fiat to fiat.
Okay, yeah.
But it's a new technology, new messaging system. It's very quick, significantly quicker. The XRP part is used when you need to use on-demand liquidity. So replacing those stores of money that they have, those Nostro Vostro accounts, and replacing that with basically a pool of XRP that anyone can, whenever you want to send dollars and you want it to go into rubles or whatever it is, it just converts, uses the coins, puts them back. What was the question again? I lost my train.
The very start.
So why would
a centralized entity be a good?
No, the XRP part.
Will it be sent? We be sending XRP?
Yeah. Okay.
Sending,
Sorry, my brain went off.
That's all right.
So they would use the XRP for the use of the on-demand liquidity, because there's no such thing as Nostro Vostro anymore. We're talking in the future. Whenever this crash happens, there's no Nostro Vostro. The only way for them to send large amounts of money, large amounts of money really, and settle them. This is the key thing. They have to use the on-demand liquidity pool that is there, and that's the appeal of a bank to use XRP. So XRP gets used in those specific instances, but it's not just about me sending fiat to fiat and converting it into XRP. It's about, let's say, and this is from an interview with Jimmy Valley the other day. He was saying, when this is out in full implementation, you'll have people trading SIM cards, like in Africa, the currency that have the minutes, right? You'll be able to sell your minutes via XRP into pounds or whatever. Like everything will be interoperable with each other. And so XRP's use case in that situation is just a natural a bridge asset for everything. And so when we talk about the idea of me thinking it's at the bottom, but also understanding that we could go down a lot further, it all depends how far the banks want to take this, in my opinion. If the banks want it to go further down, they're going to drag it out even further. There's going to be riots in the street. Like if you talk to someone, I don't know if you know this guy called Black Swan Capitalist. He's quite a doomsday opinion. He thinks there's going to be a massive crash, a month where the most valuable asset is water, like that type of situation. I can't get there personally. But in that eventuality, the banks will literally go to zero. Crypto goes to zero. But it emerges as the new utility. And so being in that space, that XRP finance space, when I look at the altcoins, I think I can't get over the fact that the altcoins, they're not going to do anything.
Totally.
So it's just really hard to get out of that mentality. So whenever I look across the board, all these tokens I could be buying, and I think, I'll just buy XRP.
Totally.
Because there's enough signs out there to say that it's going to be the rails, which I'm sure you've heard. It's going to be the rails for all the payments basically around the world. And if we have all those signs from the financial system that that's going to be implemented, which we do, they don't lose, those guys. So,
and that makes XRP $10,000 a coin.
Who knows? Who knows?
I think a similar way to say how you're going altcoins are, might as well buy XRP, is the same reason why, which I guess is actually a benefit if XRP is the global transfer network, right? It's better if people look at it like that. But I think it's similar to the way that someone like, I guess essentially like me, except I'm like, nah, if that makes money, I want to be a part of it. That's why I hold XRP. But a lot of people are like, God, can this guy on TikTok or on Twitter or whatever stop saying that a coin's gonna be worth 10 grand a coin? Because just shush. Like, it doesn't make sense because of market cap, because of all of this stuff.
Yeah.
I understand the reason, right?
Okay.
I understand the idea behind it. But that's essentially why the same way you're shut off is the same way people are shut off. You know what I mean? So it seems like a cult.
I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're saying the coin's going to be worth $10,000 a coin. Like, it's ridiculous as a cult.
Well,
I'm like, I don't give a crap. Like,
Yeah.
if it's worth $10,000 a coin, sweet. I got enough to make me rich. So
Yeah.
great. If not, I've got enough that it makes no difference.
Yeah.
So like I said, that's how I see everything.
Yeah,
Like, I also, sorry, not to interrupt. I also completely agree with you with the majority of altcoins. Like, most altcoins, there's no purpose. It's just simply another iteration of Bitcoin or another iteration of some sort of utility that can be handled with normal money or can be handled with whatever. Like gas prices for Ethereum, it makes sense that there's a coin, right? You pay for it. But most things that are considered utility are just extra steps, right? They're just Ethereum or Bitcoin with extra steps.
Yeah.
And but you can make loads of money, so pay attention. That's the way I think.
well,
about it.
this is what I'm getting from this conversation. It's like I've achieved all my goals in terms of how much XRP I want, how much XLM I want, how much XDC.
Where do the other ones fit in?
What other ones?
Your other two X's.
Oh, the other ones. So XLM fits in the way that XRP goes from bank to bank, institution to institution. XLM goes from person to person or person to merchant, or unbanked nations, so countries that don't even have a bank or a proper central bank. And so they're actually basically the same thing. But when we look, for example, the Ukraine, I made a research piece about this the other day. The Ukraine were piloting their CBDC, and they were piloting it using Stellar. And they came to the conclusion at the end of that whole paper, it was like 50 pages. This is what I find myself doing every day. They came to the end and they said, Stellar looks like a great way to handle what we need for these transactions, for this type of CBDC. But if we're looking at cross-border payments, sending money from banks to other banks cross-border, we need to look further into something else that's going to work. And so they don't say Ripple in that.
Yeah.
But that's what they mean.
Yeah.
But it also means that when they're talking about CBDCs and they're talking about XLM, they're talking about a retail CBDC, which obviously is different to a wholesale CBDC, which the banks would use. And so XLM fits in that category. I think most people around the world will know what XLM is, and most people won't know what XRP is. Just because of the nature of where it's used. The banks, people don't know how the banks operate, but people know how their bank operates when they send money.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be a key difference. XDC, however, there's a whole thing.
Yeah.
I find it absolutely fascinating about XDC, because XDC is a smart contract platform, which we hear a lot. But the point is, it's actually a fork of Ethereum, which is significantly cheaper, runs way faster, way more environmentally friendly, all of that kind of stuff. But what XDC is aiming to do, and they're working with Impel and all kinds of massive companies, JP Morgan even secretly, even though JP Morgan lean heavily on the Ethereum side for some reason. But
Let's look at that.
Ethereum's part of the ecosystem
If
anyway.
what you're saying is correct, then they're doing that so they can buy more without retail buying.
I'm not
more.
going to get into it. The comments hate me for conspiracies.
I mean, that's like, if anyone thinks that's not the case, like, I'm not advocating for these coins, but if you think that's not, like, if what you're saying is correct, I don't know, I want to make money, so I want you to be correct, whatever. If what you're saying is correct, big banks are going to make a point of making sure that they don't talk about anything.
Yeah.
So they can buy more. That's just, so it's not a conspiracy, it just is the case.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying they are doing that for this. He might just be
I might just be
tin foil hat.
Yeah.
XRP.
Yeah. So,
10 million a coin.
I'm not saying 10 million a coin, by the way. I'm not even saying 10,000.
20 billion for one coin.
Who knows, actually, maybe. Let's lean into it.
Let's give you a great short. Give me the what's your price prediction for each of those coins?
I don't have price predictions.
Give me price predictions.
I'm sorry.
I also do the same thing, but that's just to get me out of any like implication when it does or it doesn't.
But I actually don't.
Do you think XRP is going to hit $10,000 a coin?
Eventually.
I think you just got your short.
Eventually. But let me go
Or the
back.
start of the the start of the
Yeah, that's
podcast.
the start. I think
we got
XTC.
we got a end in a sec. I think.
Oh, do we?
1 minute.
Got a minute.
Okay. With XTC in 1 minute. XTC is basically going to handle every agreement that you make in the world. So a mortgage agreement, an agreement between friends, it's all there. The thing about XTC is that they can't settle payments. They can transfer the information about payments, which is where Impel comes from, because they're like Swift, but a different thing. And so any transaction that is made in terms of an agreement, the money will end up flowing through XRP to settle the funds, because XTC isn't based in liquidity.
So what's the point of having a coin in that? Just before we
10,000.
just before we cut, you said actually while we were cut, you said that XRP is 100% going
No.
to $25,000 a coin. I want to hear right now why you think that, or I'm going to walk off this podcast immediately.
Thanks for the intro clip. No, well, I can get into that. Let me answer the question that you just gave me before you left. I think one of the reasons why you would have a coin for XDC is because they can settle some payments. So I guess if you're like doing peer-to-peer agreements, like the small ones,
Yeah.
I bet you £100 or something that this can happen. Let's put it in a smart contract.
Yeah.
Goes in an escrow.
Okay.
They can settle those funds, but when
Yeah,
you're talking
yeah.
about trillions a day,
Yeah.
they have to source their liquidity from somewhere else. So I guess that's one way that the XTC token would be used.
How much XRP do I need to hold to be a millionaire?
You know that you're asking me this question because that's all of the comments. You know that's the comment.
I want to be a millionaire. How many do I need to hold? One? One. He said one. One XRP.
Okay, so let's talk about the XRP price in its astronomical values. The reason why an XRP would be worth a lot of money is because there's a lot of money moving through
Yeah.
the system. So the Bank of England on its own does $1 trillion a day in payments. And if that's just the Bank of England, you've got all the banks around the world, all the central banks, I would say. There's not as many as banks, obviously. But if they're all doing $1 trillion a day, and then that's just bank-to-bank transfers, and we're not talking about all the other areas of life like trade, commodities, you have to tokenize those and settle them if they're being sent and moved around. It's like, what's the value of the earth? And what can the earth move? All the money, you know? I don't think it takes all the money. Connor, listen to me. Listen. I'm not saying it's all the money.
How much is XRP going to be worth? Well, Connor, what's the value of the Earth?
Look,
How much is the Earth worth to you? Because that's one XRP.
Look, so XRP will have its part of the pie. XLM will have its part of the pie. I love that you're getting enjoyment out of my suffering.
Listen,
online.
I'm all for it. If one XRP was worth, for example, the highest I've ever actually seen someone say is $10,000. If it was worth that, like, I'm laughing. I'm still holding loads.
Also,
'Cause
I
want
haven't
it to be
said
worth that.
anything above 10,000.
He said $1 million.
Okay, so they did a calculation for this, and I got this. The most hate I ever got online was very recently about this buyback thing. Have you heard about the buyback? Wow, it really is an insulated environment that I'm in.
Yeah. I'm very surface level.
Yeah.
I see it as an opportunity.
Okay.
And I'm like, cool, I want to be in on that opportunity.
Essentially, you've got this company called Val Hill Capital, led by a guy called Jimmy Valley, who I interviewed 2 weeks ago. He is a master deal maker. He's a lawyer. He's negotiated and closed massive deals in the energy sector in the States. Actually, quite a top player. He's formulated this buyback proposal with a committee to kind of advise on what's happening in the world and actually create these calculations for how much the world is worth and how much it's worth in the future as well when we have ores to mine in space and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He goes that far with it. They created a value for an XRP token based on all the money. And this was like 2 days ago. and the price of an XRP was 122,000.
With that amount, is there no other money being used?
That's right. That's
Okay.
that's like
I-
all encompassing.
The thing is, I understand the huge price
Yeah.
predictions when you take out all the money. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's replacing things like the whole amount of money, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't actually believe that it's going to be a situation where they're replacing things, right? It's an add-on in my eyes.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm all for it. Like maybe it does.
Well, I agree with you that it won't.
Yeah.
I think all the money is just a number that no one really has. Like no one really has ever calculated, and they've actually calculated it with like a 20% buffer for things that they haven't. But anyway, I announced that I was part of that committee I was part of it as an influencer, not as a financial person to
Yeah, yeah.
advise on the values of it and stuff. I've actually, apart from being with Jimmy in person for lunch and the podcast, that's really the only interaction I've had with that whole thing.
Yeah.
And we barely even talked about it. So, but that whole idea of the reason they're creating that value for an XRP is to propose this to the Fed, or I guess, or the Treasury, to say this is what an XRP is worth in the future.
Yeah.
Would you buy our XRP off of us to take it off and use it however you want it, but basically give us
Yeah,
what it's
yeah.
worth? And it's just caused massive outrage online.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And people were like, I thought you weren't selling. I was like, I didn't say I was selling.
Yeah.
I'm just like want to have my ears to the ground so I know what's
So-
going on.
Are you never selling XRP?
That's the stance as it is right now. The reason being is because the XRP is to be used as the asset to collateralize. So in that eventuality, in that situation where banks are now allowing you to hold your crypto with them, and then they give you an interest, just like a normal bank, but at
Yeah.
higher yields. In that situation, that's it. That's the end goal. I don't spend any of my assets, and I get to live the life I want to live.
Yeah, they give you a loan to value, right, against it.
Yeah. And so that's kind of how I view it right now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the need to sell, I think everyone should sell if they need to sell. If you've got rent to pay, you've got
Yeah.
food to put on the table, sell some, have some fun with that money, go to the Bahamas, whatever you want to do. But understand that where the future's going is the collateralized world.
Yeah.
So, and these tokens, it goes far greater than XRP. It goes to loads of them. The banks will be holding them, and we know this because they're partnering with custodianship
Yeah,
companies.
I've
and
seen
we
it.
know this is coming. So, at the very least, hold the majority of your bags so
Yeah.
that you can do that in the future, because that's what offers the
Yeah,
generational
yeah.
wealth, not the short term,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
like the Lambo.
Yeah.
So that's where I stand, and that's why I don't think I'll sell XRP.
Yeah, it's cool. I like it. That's the same reason why I don't sell Bitcoin. Much of it. I still sell a little bit to live life and to
Yeah.
buy stuff. But yeah, I agree. I like it. I like unwavering confidence in things. It's good.
Yeah.
And whether or not you're right is another matter.
I've also not ever seen $1 billion in my portfolio.
Have you not?
No. So
So-
who knows how that will feel
Yeah.
if that time comes.
Yeah. I mean, if I was sitting across a billionaire,
Yeah.
it'd be a little bit different. I wouldn't be laughing about the price of XRP.
Well, like...
This whole time?
Actually, no.
You've been a billionaire this whole time.
Actually, no. And yeah, I thought the filming in my basement on my iPhone 8 would give it away, but not a billionaire. Not yet, anyway.
Nice. How much XRP do you hold?
This part of the episode is sponsored by NeonLink. Yes, they have a chain, token, a naming service, a DEX, all of that stuff that you would think a new project would have coming out. But I want to talk about their AAA game that's coming out called Ascend the End. All the gamers out there will understand what a AAA game is. This is a top tier game that's coming out. Like Fortnite was a AAA game, Call of Duty is a AAA game. Ascend the End is also a AAA game and the first of its kind in Web3. They also have this whole onboarding thing for developers to be able to develop within the game as well, and on the blockchain. And this whole thing is for gamers, made by gamers. So you know all of the desires that you have as a gamer are being met because it's made that way from the foundation up. They've also got Neon Saga, Neon Originals, and Neon Punks and more. So if you are interested at all, take 30 seconds to go over to Neon Blockchain on Twitter or neonlink.io on a browser. Back to the episode. So my last question for you is if you had 10,000...
Doesn't actually hold any XRP after all of that.
Yeah, well, hypothetically,
Psych.
it's all hypothetical in
XRP
nature.
paid me.
Isn't that the craziest thing?
People, you know, the wildest comment before you ask your last thing was like, I am just on my main channel talking about what I think the market is doing, right? So if something like FTX happens, I believe in the short term, it's going to be bearish because it is, obviously, right? Am I still buying in that moment? Yes. Do I say it in the video? Yes. But I genuinely, in the last, like, you know, before this run, so what, 3 weeks ago, was getting significant amount of comments of people genuinely believing that there is an entity that goes out and pays influencers to FUD the overall market.
Yeah.
Maybe there are people who FUD against, you know, coin X and coin B. Coin X pays big influencer Y to, you know, FUD it. Fair enough. But FTX is going to be detrimental to the overall market, and inflation is pretty bad this month. So probably the market will go down. So be prepared, guys. If you want to take some profits, take the profits off the table now. That's the safest thing to do. If you want to be degen, you want to be buying now. Those are your options. This guy's clearly been paid by someone to FUD the market. And I'm like, where's my bag? Someone will pay me to say this?
Yeah.
Sign me up. Put me forward.
I know. It's so
Wild.
That's the most infuriating comment. It's like they say Ripple's paying you to shill XRP.
And you're like, yeah, I believe in Ripple, so I wish Ripple would be paying me. That'd be awesome.
That would be like the ideal
Yeah, yeah.
sponsorship for a video. My last question is about, it might require some specifics, and it might be representative of where you are right now. But if you had $10,000, how would that be spread? And we don't have to limit ourselves to crypto. It could be precious metals across the board, which we didn't talk about, but
I don't invest in any precious metals.
okay, well, conversation over.
It's not degen enough for me. Where am I in life?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if you held precious metals and that takes a certain percentage of your 10,000, you know, because...
Yeah, no, I mean, like, do I have $10,000 and I've been saving that
where
for the
are
last 10 years? Or do I have $10,000 and that's how much I make every 2 days?
Let's put it in the context of I've got $10,000, a job that I don't like to go to, doesn't earn enough. $10,000 is a lot of money for me right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not invested in anything at all.
I would go on YouTube and type in the top 10 side hustles to start while I'm doing a 9 to 5 job. I would then research that for a month and find the one or two that I actually think that I would enjoy. For me, that was flipping Instagram pages and starting drop shipping. I was like, right, I'm going to go, you know, balls to the wall and just focus on this and I'm going to learn it, right? I would use 1,000 of that dollars to learn, right? So you can skip. The only difference between a course, if it's an amicable one, and YouTube, they can give you the same information. Yeah, no one's arguing that. But it stops your ability to have to search for hours and weeks on end to find one specific piece of information. I use courses to learn how to trade crypto. I've used courses to learn how to do Facebook ads. Because I just didn't want to spend the extra weeks. I wanted to hone in and learn it straight away and learn from someone who knows what they're talking about. So that $1,000 would go there. I would then spend another $1,000 or $2,000. I would put whatever the majority of people are saying it costs to start something. I'd probably times that by 2 or 3, right? So, you know, it costs $100 to start an Instagram flipping business. It doesn't. It's going to cost you $500 because you're going to buy a load of crap before it actually gets you money. Or to start a drop shipping business, it doesn't cost $50 or $500. It costs you thousands of dollars. So thousands of dollars. Let's put aside $3,000, $2,000, $3,000 to start one of these businesses, right? And there's so many opportunities that I'm not going to go into. Drop shipping is the only one that I can tell you that isn't to do with content creation or crypto that made me significant money. So I can tell you it's possible. So I would be doing something in and around e-commerce. So what are we at? $4,000. Then I would take 1,000 of that dollars and I would put it into things that are like really risky.
Okay.
Like super risky
Degen
stuff. Yeah. Just like maybe $1,000, but this has to be this $1,000. Maybe it's $1,000 for you, but maybe it's a little bit less. It has to be wholeheartedly, honestly to yourself. It has to be money that you're okay for it to go to zero. It has to be that. If you're not actually okay with losing that money, then don't do it. It's not worth it, right? So I'll give you a 10% of our whole thing that we're talking about for degen stuff. We're talking small cap altcoins. We're not talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, or maybe some of the bigger guys that are now in a bear market. Also depends on where we're sitting in the market, but right now it may depend on some of those guys. But research to, a lot of time, to a large degree, smaller cap. We're talking maybe 10 to $100 million market caps. Aiming for 10 to $20 million is where I would aim for. Even lower than that, but that's also much because there's so many more, right? $1,000 of what you're okay to go to zero. So we have our business in the making, and we have a little bit of degen, right? Because in my mind, the way I think of things, and there's no leverage trading involved here. I wouldn't be doing that at that point. We've got potentially our money maker and another potential money maker. So this is our money making side. Whoops. So this is our money making side, right? Small business and a little bit of degen. Maybe the small business fails. Maybe the degen fails. I've still got my 9 to 5 job to fall back on, right? So that's all fine. Now we're talking about investments for the long term. I would do 20% into Bitcoin, 20% into the S&P 500, and then 10% into either companies that you believe in or larger cap altcoins that you believe in.
Interesting.
That's what I would do. That is what I do.
Okay.
And that's from the standing point of someone who doesn't generate income themselves. That's a 9 to 5 job.
Yeah.
$10,000 is quite a lot of money to them. That sort of stuff.
So 50% in business.
Yeah. But that's me being. I'm trying to answer your question without saying put all $10,000 into yourself growing a business. If I was talking to my friend, I wouldn't invest anything. If he had a job and all of his money that he had in the bank, I wouldn't invest anything. I would only use it to build a business.
Is that because that's quite surprising?
Yeah.
Considering
I might keep the $1,000 of degen app.
Okay.
Big break opportunities, but apart from that, yeah, I would say.
Are you saying that because $10,000 or pounds, whatever it is, isn't substantial enough?
Yeah, to make a lot of money, unless you get really lucky. Unless you buy ADA, like I said, on happenstance, and you do a whatever the 1,000x or 100x it was.
So basically, if you have £10,000, make £50,000. Make 100. Like where's the?
You're in a much better position. Like, say you had £10,000 and you tried 3 different businesses with that £10,000. 2 of them failed. 1 of them started to make you money. You started to make £2,000 a month next to your £3,000 a month or £2,000 a month you make normally in your 9 to 5.
Yep.
Now you have £2,000 a month to invest into the market every single month. Dollar cost average into, because you're here, XRP.
That's
Bitcoin, right. And the S&P 500. You've got XRP, which is a little bit more risky in my opinion, obviously not yours, but XRP is a little bit more risky. Huge upside. Marginal downside, but can go to 0.
Yeah.
Bitcoin, a little less risky. Marginal downside, obviously can go to 0. And then the S&P 500. Or maybe Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Tesla, that sort of stuff. But now you're dollar cost averaging into these things. So if they're going down, you're getting more of them. You're also generating an income. And you have your job, and you hopefully can build that business enough to leave your job. You're not going to be leaving your job if you're investing all of your money into an investment that very slowly grows, right?
That's true. It makes complete sense. That's the first answer like that I've had.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that, and I appreciate the time that you've taken to come over here.
That's right.
Considering you've just landed.
It was mainly the cold, so it's pretty rude. It's pretty rude that you made it so cold. Not in this room. This is lovely.
Yeah, sorry. I'm responsible for the weather.
Yeah, it's outrageous. You made me come to England. Yuck.
I wish you all the best. I know we'll be in touch. I want some of those degen alphas.
Yeah, once XRP is $10,000, we're going to go and buy a yacht together.
Exactly. That's what we'll do.
Shake on it so I don't seem like an idiot. Thank you.
Didn't actually see your hand, but
I'm like, I'm not going to give up on this.
I should have left that. That would have been a clip.
If any of you guys want to have daily content on crypto, the best out there, the best alpha on degen coins, Bitcoin, everything that you need to know to be fully up to date in the world of crypto, the link to my channel's down there. His channel's all right.
If I put
my
it
link
there.
is down there. Probably won't put it there. Hopefully XRP goes to 10,000, Bitcoin goes to 100,000 plus, and happy days. We all ride out.
The Bitcoin maxis and the XRP maxis can all live harmoniously.
I'm happy for it. I'm happy for it. I got enough of both, so it's all good.
Good. Thank you.
No worries. Peace.
Thank you for watching the episode. If you want to see any of the other episodes that we did, like the last one I put out with Jimmy Valley and another one with Black Swan Capitalist, you can click those videos to the side. If you want to get notified of any of the future No Emotion podcasts, then please consider clicking subscribe.